The Denver Broncos just made their smartest move of the season by staying put at the trade deadline, and this is statistically proved, and honestly, they're perfectly positioned to hand the Kansas City Chiefs their first loss this Sunday. What's up, everyone? If you love NFL, smash the like button and hit subscribe. On this channel, we cover AFC West. Let's start with what everyone's talking about, the trade deadline. I've seen many deadlines deals, and one thing I know very well. Sometimes the best moves are the ones you don't make, and this is what Broncos just did. Let's talk about why staying pat at the trade deadline was actually brilliant for Denver. Now, I know what you're thinking. I see all those comments already. But we needed another weapon. Why didn't we make a splash? Trust me, I get it. I really do. The very first thing that's got me fired up, man, this is incredible. Sean Payton and George Paton just sent the strongest possible message to the locker room. We believe in you guys. You got us here and we're riding with you. And when you really look at where we are right now, halfway through the season, we're a legitimate playoff team. That's not just homer talk. That are facts. Even if you look at the Broncos' current situation, they're sitting at 5-4, which is a big step up from where they were just a few weeks ago. And while it's not a lock for playoffs, it puts them firmly in the hunt. According to NFL Next Gen stats, our defense has improved drastically. Through Week 4, we were dead last in pressure rate at 13.2%. Since Week 5, we've skyrocketed to 8th overall at 29.8%. That's not just improvement, that's a complete transformation. George Paton and Sean Payton aren't just thinking about next Sunday. They're playing chess while others are playing checkers. George Paton has been crystal clear about his philosophy. He wants as many shots at the draft as possible. And man, have they loaded up. They're sitting on 6 picks in the 6th round alone, plus all other picks. You know what that means? They've got ammunition. Serious ammunition. And here's something not enough people are talking about. They've brought in David Shaw in their analytical department for one clear reason: to scout college talent that fits Sean Payton's system perfectly. Shaw's job isn't just to find good players, it's to find players who fit like a glove in what Payton is building here. This isn't about throwing darts at a board or taking random chances in the draft. No, this is all about calculated and strategic team building. Shaw is out there looking for those hidden gems, the diamonds in the rough, that other teams might overlook. And they're not just giving him a couple of picks to work with, they're stacked with picks. Especially in those later rounds. They've got 6 picks in the 6th round alone, and each one gives Shaw another shot to find the right player who could be a real difference maker for them. Now, let's talk about what they didn't do at the deadline. Everyone was asking to make a splash for a tight end. David Njoku was the famous name that kept coming up. But let's break down the numbers. Njoku's averaging 47.3 yards per game with just 1 touchdown this season. Now, compare that to Greg Dulcich when he's healthy. He's pulling in 44.6 yards per game with a similar touchdown rate, and he's already familiar with the system. Do you remember that Russell Wilson trade? Everyone was extremely happy, but look at the numbers now. They gave up 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and 3 players for a QB who's posted a 37.0 QBR since joining us. That's exactly the front office's decision to show some restraint. This time around is perfect. Let's talk about the last game with Ravens. Yes, the final score didn't look pretty, but there's more to it than meets the eye. The Broncos ran into a Baltimore team that's arguably the best offense in the league right now, and they came into that game with a lot to prove. It was a tough matchup, no question, but let's not overlook what was really going on with the defense. Key players were missing, including PJ Locke, who was out, forcing them to rely on Devin Key in the secondary. And for anyone who's been following, you know that made a big difference. Experts were saying it before the game. Without Locke, secondary would be more vulnerable, and it showed. Despite all these challenges, Bo Nix and the team didn't give up. For a while, it looked like they were just 1 score away at halftime, only to have the game slip away right after. So, while the scoreboard might not tell the full story, they've got to remember that the Broncos went up against an elite Ravens team under tough conditions. And good news is also in the air. PJ Locke is set to return, a much-needed boost to the secondary. Josh Reynolds will be back as well, finally filling that WR2 role Denver have been missing. But here's the actual surprise that's flown under the radar. Drew Sanders' practice window is about to open. With Sanders poised to step up as edge rushing depth, suddenly the decision to trade Baron Browning doesn't seem so risky. Now, come to the center of the talk, the upcoming match against the season's unbeaten the Kansas City Chiefs. First off, Kansas City isn't the same team right now. they are facing serious setbacks heading into this game. First, they lost an incredible cornerback in free agency, and just recently they lost another starter to a big injury. Above all, there were also strong rumors that the Chiefs might swoop in and snag Marshon Lattimore to plug that hole. This could be the game changer for them, and it would have made them even tougher and a bigger threat for another Super Bowl run. But that deal didn't go through. Maybe they are thinking differently, and Lattimore ended up in the NFC with the Washington Commanders. Here are some other stats that support the Broncos' confidence. Their defense has been proven over and over. They know how to keep Mahomes in check. Just look at last year. The Broncos faced them on a tough Thursday night in Arrowhead. Even with everything stacked against them, they held Mahomes to just one touchdown. Russell Wilson may have struggled in that game, but the defense stood tall, even managing to intercept Mahomes. And here's another piece of good news for Denver. The Chiefs will be without their main running back, Isaiah Pacheco. So, the Chiefs are coming into this game with some real gaps. That's a big advantage for the Broncos. Even other stats are also showing the scenario worst. Start with Travis Kelce. Everyone acts like he's still unstoppable, but the numbers don't lie. In the 2022 season, Travis Kelce delivered an outstanding performance. Over 17 games, he recorded 110 receptions for 1,338 yards, averaging 12.2 yards per catch, and scored 12 touchdowns. But Travis Kelce recorded 93 receptions for 984 yards and 5 touchdowns over 15 games in the 2023 season, until the middle of the current season. 2024, Travis Kelce has played 8 games and has recorded 52 receptions for 435 yards, averaging 8.4 yards per catch, and has scored 1 touchdown. Can you see the performance graph is going down? And honestly, Vance Joseph is going to be key in this Chiefs game. He knows their system inside and out, and with PJ Locke back, they can get back to playing the aggressive style that's been working for them. No more of those weird zone coverages that got them in trouble. The playoff picture looks really interesting too. If the Broncos manage to take down the undefeated Chiefs, they won't just be pulling off a huge upset. They'll be setting themselves up as serious playoff contenders. Right now, their chances of making the playoffs are hovering around 50%. But a win over Kansas City could be the turning point that pushes them firmly into playoff contention. This wouldn't be just another victory. It would send a powerful message across the league that the Broncos are a team to watch. Now, here's where things get even more interesting for the Broncos' playoff hopes. Their biggest wildcard competitor, the Cincinnati Bengals, is facing a tough road ahead with a grueling schedule. Up next, the Bengals must take on the Baltimore Ravens, followed by matchups with the Los Angeles Chargers and Pittsburgh Steelers. All teams that are also fighting for playoff spots. Each of these games will be a challenge, and it won't stop there. The Bengals still have to go up against other strong opponents, including the Dallas Cowboys, Tennessee Titans, and division rivals like the Cleveland Browns. The bottom line is this: staying pat at the trade deadline wasn't just playing it safe, it was a power move. It was Sean Payton and George Paton saying, "We've got our guys right here." And when you look at the bigger picture, the draft capital we've accumulated, the players coming back from injury, the way our schedule sets up, and this opportunity to take down Kansas City, man, it's all right there for them. So, what do you all think? Are you feeling this confidence about staying pat at the deadline? Do you believe the Broncos can shock the Chiefs? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear from every single one of you about how you're feeling heading into this massive matchup. Remember, this isn't just another game against Kansas City. This is the chance to announce to the whole NFL that the Denver Broncos are back. And personally, I can't wait for Sunday.